All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. You know, before we bring out our guest here tonight, I want to take a moment to do something very quickly. I forget to do this every September on the show, so I'm going to do so right now. I want to wish my mother a very happy birthday. September 18th is the day. She's tremendous. I love her. If you folks do anything tonight, make sure you hug your mothers. That's what you should do. Now, enough of the sappy stuff. Our guest tonight can be seen weeknights bringing you news of the day on Eyewitness News and Fox Providence. Here he is, the one, the only Mr. Mike Montecalvo. Mike, how are you, sir?
Fine, thank you. How are you, Brandon?
I'm great. Thank you very much for being here.
How can you forget your mother?
I know. Well,
how do you do that?
I have no excuses. I have no way out of this one, but I took care of it. So thank you for allowing me to waste a few minutes of your interview time for my mom. Well, I want to thank you very much for saving the day here, because as you know, your co-anchor, the lovely Erin Kennedy, was supposed to be here. She had to cancel on me.
Well, how
I
does she
still
do that?
love her. She's still tremendous, but you, sir, are the greatest pinch hitter in the history of television.
I tell her I'm Superman all the time, so I came in the station today.
He actually came in wearing a cape, folks. I didn't want to out you, but there we go. Well, thank you very much for being here.
My pleasure.
I've got so many questions for you about your career in television. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where you're from, how you kind of got started in this whole TV thing?
Well, you know, as a kid, I used to love looking at the top 40 list. You know, back then it was like JB 105, Pro FM, and there were other stations, and they used to put out their top songs. So I used to get all of them and average them all in, and I would have the Mike Montecalvo countdown. So I was this little kid from Woonsocket doing that, and I always was fascinated with radio and TV.
Are there any tapes of that, by the way?
No, but you'd be surprised, because I graduated from Rhode Island College, and they had a reunion last year, and they found old tapes of mine.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know how anybody hired me after listening to those tapes. So I always wanted to go into radio, actually, first. So my first job was WNRI in Woonsocket.
Oh, wow.
And I snuck in the back way. I waited an hour and a half in the parking lot for somebody to come out the back door.
Right.
And I snuck in and I told the guy who owned the place, "You got to hire me. I have my own radio show at Rhode Island College, and I'm from Woonsocket." And he said, "Do you speak Portuguese?" And I said, "No." He goes, "Well, we have a Portuguese show that somebody needs to run." I said, "I'll do it." He goes, "Would you vacuum the carpets?" I go, "I guess I'll do it."
Sure.
30 years later,
whatever it takes.
I'm on TV.
Now, after you had this experience at that small station, how did you kind of move up the ladder in TV and radio? Did you go to some different places and kind of transition your way into television?
You know, Brendan, it's all networking.
Sure, it sure
you know,
it certainly is.
You know, I was still in college. I was only a freshman, so you know, you make your tapes back then, and back then a lot of those stations were being sold, so you knew that you were probably going to be gone, so you're always looking for the next job. But in TV, a friend of mine who I went to school with, Sheila Sullivan, she's a producer for Cox Sports.
Very good.
She kept bugging me. She said, "You know, you'd be great on TV. Why don't you do some stuff for us?" And that's how it really started. And then I did like some cable shows, Wing Sports, where I got to interview President Bush on it. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, so that's how it all started. And
sure. Now, did you ever see yourself as a news anchor? Like, did you ever think to yourself, "Good Lord, I'd be good as that guy"? Or is that just something that kind of developed through your experiences and you realize, well, hey, here I am, I'm doing well, this must be for me?
Yeah, it kind of developed. I think the only thing I ever thought of was, well, let's do radio for a little bit, and then maybe I'll go back to school and become a lawyer. Because that's the deal I made with my father. I graduated from LaSalle, like you.
That's it.
And went to Rhode Island College, like you.
Like me.
But I was supposed to go to PC to become a lawyer. So that was the deal I made with him on the side. That never happened.
So, I mean, as a news anchor, I would think, obviously you guys face challenges every single day bringing the news in to us, people like me. We want to know what's going on. What would you say, the biggest challenge facing you is on a daily basis? Is it, making sure that the story's just right? Is it getting to all the stories? I mean, what, as a news anchor, can you tell me?
You know what, Brendan, it has to be right.
Yeah.
You have to get the
just
facts.
make stuff up.
Right. There's this whole perception that we all want to be first, and definitely at Eyewitness News we want to be first, and we try to do that as best as possible. But you always want to have the facts right, especially when you're coming to a tragic story.
Sure.
And you want to be sensitive to the family, and that's the thing that you have to balance all the time. You might know the family's name, but you don't want to release it yet because you don't want the family watching TV to find out that a loved one was killed. 9/11 was difficult because you want to be balanced with all of that. So
I would think
that's the challenge.
Yeah, I would think television news is just a series of difficult decisions that have to be made every day, like what's going to get on and what you're going to talk about first and things like that. Is that true?
Yeah, and the other thing too, there are a lot of great stories out there. People come up to me all the time and they say, "I have a story for you."
Right.
And sometimes it's a good story, but it's not a TV story. And other times, a friend of mine's nephew donated a liver to his cousin.
Yes.
You know, it was a piece that we had, Saving Jordan, and I can't tell you how that resonated with viewers. I was getting emails.
Yeah.
You know, because
that was a very touching piece.
Thank you, and it showed people that there are good people out there.
Sure.
I love doing those types of stories,
Right.
but unfortunately, you have the the shootings and stabbings that you have to do too.
Speaking of the liver donation piece, I actually know Eric.
Oh, you know Eric?
I've known him for
wow.
many years. My brother and I have, and he's just a terrific person. And that whole story, as was just so touching. And I wanted to commend you on the job
Thank
you
you.
did there.
They're doing very well. So
yeah, I think what's great too is when you bring these stories to us, we can kind of follow, and even if we don't know the person, we do feel a sense of involvement there, and we feel like, what's going on, and we want to get status updates, and we want to know what's happening. And I think that kind of is not only a testament to the caring nature of people deep down, but to the fact that you bring these stories to us and that you do such a good job with them.
Thank you. You know what I love when people come up? They come up to you all the time and talk to you, and if they say, "Oh, I watch you on TV," you say thank you. But I love it when they come up to you and say, "I watch you on TV. I really loved what you did," or "I really loved the coverage that you did on the hurricane." That kind of deal, because then you're really touching them and making your point.
When people say I love what you do, I've never heard it, but I can imagine that
you can strive for that.
All right, yeah, I'll let you know when that happens. Now, Mike, give me the rundown here of what are the times you're on each day? Like, and you do all the different times.
I'm on 24/7.
All right,
yeah, I don't sleep.
Okay. Oh, really?
Didn't we talk about Superman about a few minutes ago? I do the 5, 5:30, and 6 on Channel 12, WPRI 12. I do the 10 on Fox Providence, and I do the 11 on WPRI 12.
Okay, so that's a lot.
So I do 5 shows.
You're a very busy man.
So
I think you and Aaron have tremendous chemistry, by the way.
Thank you.
Doing the newscast. Now, is that a big part of it? I know I've had so many people here who do like morning radio and whatnot, but the chemistry factor, does that play a role in news? Yeah,
and it's funny. People ask that all the time too. She and I have known each other for a while. We've worked together now, sitting next to each other for 3 years. So you develop that chemistry as you're going along. I worked with Karen only 3 years before she retired. And people were surprised at the chemistry, but I had known Karen 15 years before that.
Right.
So now Susan Roberts has replaced Karen, and you can feel that the chemistry is starting to come.
Sure.
You just can't sit in the chair the first day, and that's going to happen.
Well, you've developed something really great, and it's hard to believe, Mike, we're almost out of time already. That's how good you are. But I want to know, before we go here, could you, if all the gloves were off, if it came down to it, do you think you could take Dan Janig to you threw down?
Absolutely.
You think?
Yeah, there is no question about it. Dan's afraid of me.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, well,
when I come in, he goes running.
He's a favorite guest of ours here, so we might have to work something out.
I like Dan.
He's a great guy. Maybe we could work out a little Rumble.
We could do something like that for charity or something like that.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. Well, Mike, I cannot thank you enough for your time. Thank you so much for being
Anytime.
here. And it's just a great pleasure to meet you, and continued success over there at Eyewitness News and Fox Providence.
All right, thank you, brother.
Mike Montecalvo, everybody. We'll be right back after this.